Welcome to Living the Reiki Life podcast. Hi, I'm Amanda.
And I'm Kristi, and we're coming at you from the Prairie Province of Saskatchewan, Canada.
We met in the corporate world over a decade ago and became great friends. We started our Reiki journey together, and now we are Reiki Masters. Follow along as we navigate life living the spiritual world while still working the 9 to 5.
We gather twice a month to chat all about Reiki and our Reiki journeys, energy healing, and other healing modalities.
We are going to interview some of our gurus and cover a vast majority of topics that we find interesting, and hopefully you do too. Let's get at it.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Welcome in. It's episode 8. Already 8.
I know. Can you believe that? We're just rolling along here.
I feel like we're going to say that every episode. Can you believe
I
it? 9? We made it to 9. Yeah. So that's pretty awesome. How was the week? How is everything going?
Yeah, it's going pretty good. Things are kind of starting to settle down, starting to find my groove, and yeah, because it's been kind of hectic lately. But no, the change is happening, and change is going to be good.
That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Really good. Anything interesting or exciting that we should know about that's been happening at the house? The house always has cool stuff going on.
Oh yeah, it never ends here. Well, yeah, so this is going to sound really out there, but I've been spending like a lot of time in my backyard, and I'm watching the birds. And there's so many species of birds. Like when I talk to my mom on the phone outside, she's like, it sounds like you're in freaking pet land with all the chirping going on in the background. And I've just come to know like what birds are which. And Troy knows so much about the birds. So I've learned a lot from him. And just like when I see a bird and looking up like what their spiritual meanings are and just connecting to them. And then like watching them, like the robins, it's so funny when they're on the ground, they actually do this little grid dance of like finding worms and insects in their food. So they have one robin is on the ground and then there's another one on watch, and you can watch them. The one's looking for food and the other one's watching him, just making sure he's safe. And then they switch positions and then the other one goes searches for food. So it's just kind of neat.
That is.
And then Troy has binoculars, so I got those out and I'm like looking at the birds. It was like, oh my God, I'm turning into a 70-year-old lady here. She'll thank me later, my 70-year-old self.
Have you seen those like, oh, I've seen them on Instagram. It's like the people who wear like the bird mask with like,
oh yeah, that'll be me.
Paper plate with the seed on the front. That's going to be you with a blanket wrapped around your head, just
waiting for them.
For the birds. God, that would freak me out so bad if birds just came and sat right that close to my face.
Oh, I don't know if I could handle that.
I don't think so.
No, maybe like a little bird, but a big ass robin or
like
something.
A bunch. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
just swarms you.
I went snorkeling once. And of course, I'm like in the water and I don't swim. So I'm like just kind of floating around trying to do my best. And all of a sudden, this like school of fish just came up beside me. Holy shit. It freaked me out. And like I should be expecting it, but I wasn't. And I was like trying to doggy paddle away in the water.
Get away.
Yeah, swim away. Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah, we don't have the ocean here in the prairies, so that's a whole other new experience.
So funny. And like I fish, I swim in the lake all the time. Like, I don't know, just was not expecting a whole school of fish all up in me. Yeah,
that's
super
awesome.
Funny. They look good. It's good to get to know your backyard.
Oh, it totally is. And you know, it's funny. It was last night I was writing the notes for our mediumship episode. And I just happened to look over because all the birds were losing their minds. I was like, what's going on? And I look up to the tree and there was an owl that came and sat in the tree. Oh. And I've never seen an owl that close. And I was just watching him and he's looking like right at me, like staring into my soul. And I was like, oh my God, where's my camera? So I got my phone and I started like recording it and then he flew away. And the crazy thing was, so the day before, I've been reading books about like seeing auras, like the energetic field around things. And I've always wanted to see people's auras because I think that's so cool, like with your naked eye. So I was staring at this tree and I was like, well, let me see if I can see the tree's aura. So I was like doing all the practices in the book, like looking behind it, like squinting. And I was like, nothing. And I was like, well, it sucks. I was like, well, whatever. You can't just pick up something and expect it to, be right there. So I set the intention. I was like, hey, I want to see some auras. Like whenever it happens, I want to see it. So that tree that owl landed last night was a tree I was staring at and wanted to see the aura. So this morning I was having my cup of tea on the deck and I was like, oh, I'll try this aura thing again. So I looked at the tree that the owl was in and I could freaking see the whole aura of the tree.
No. What color was it?
It was like kind of like a blacky blue around the entire tree. And I was like, holy shit. And I was like, there's no one around. I can't really tell anyone.
Oh, I should have just texted me.
Yeah, I should have been like, oh, guess what I just unlocked? So I feel like it sounds a little crazy, but I feel like that owl, since they're so full of like magic and mystery and going between different realms and wisdom, I feel like he like somehow unlocked that in me. I don't know. It's just pretty wild. So I'm going outside and I can see a tree right now. And yeah, I can see it's like little fuzzy field around it. So hopefully I can work on that and see people's auras one day.
That's awesome. I mean, right? Keep practicing. Keep setting the intention. Absolutely. Yeah. It's like we talked about like in the Claire's episode. It's like all of us are capable. It's just we need to strengthen the muscle.
Yep. You need to work on it. And yeah, and just having that conversation, I know it kind of seems silly if we can say it in your mind or out loud, like, hey, I'm setting the intention. I want to use my clairvoyance and I want to see auras. Let's make it happen.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. You know, I was reading, like when you want to look at an aura, it's like looking at those magic eye books. Do you remember those?
I could never do
the ones that would make you go blind. You'd kind of start really close. And then, you kind of get cross-eyed. But like and then you kind of like look at it, but you're almost looking through it and like behind it. Yeah, it's kind of like that.
I should get my book. I have a Looney Tunes one, like from probably the 90s. I should see if my mom's, I bet she still has it. She has everything from my childhood.
That's
and
funny.
Just open it up and see what I can find.
She definitely wasn't my mom.
No?
It got like 24 hours on the fridge and then it was in the garbage.
Then it was in the garbage. That's good though, because I have boxes of shit I still have to go through.
Was it? Yeah. Yeah. It's like just a countdown on the fridge. All right. And drawing is in the recycle. Like
in the recycle. Yeah. We've acknowledged it. We loved it. Okay.
Yeah.
Next.
Away it goes. Oh, good. Really good.
Yeah. So what's going on with you?
Okay. So I'm actually going back to work in less than a week. So I've been kind of thinking about it more than I should. And it was funny. So I kept like everywhere I would look, I kept seeing twos, like 222. And like I usually time when I'm nursing and everything was 222. It was just, I was like, finally, I thought, okay, I need to look up the angel number for twos because this is getting ridiculous. So I pull up it on my phone. Of course, I haven't saved the angel numbers on my phone. And it was like right away, it was like, stop worrying. And I was like, oh, yes, I needed to hear this so bad. Just so funny how signs like that, you just need to pay attention. And I just decided right there and then, like, yeah, I'm not worrying about it. What can I control? Like my son's going to daycare, so I'm just going to roll with it. It's going to be whatever it is. And I love the woman I found. So we're just going to trust the universe and everything lining up. So it's going to be fine. And I literally just let it go. And then Kristi and I were looking at somebody's Instagram page that we were hoping to maybe interview for the podcast. And sure enough, on her page, she had it 222 in the number meaning. I couldn't believe it. So I'm like, okay, this is amazing. Like I'm definitely listening. And I almost feel like this is a sign we need to interview this lady.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
Super neat. Yeah. So that was really cool. I've also had like a few dreams here where I've been like Reikiing people in my dream. I had one again last night and it was almost like astral traveling, but when we were Reikiing, we like would go into the chakra, but we would like actually physically jump in there, and we were like in it. So you know how we were like, we hold the space when we go in, but no, we would like physically jump in and like be in the space. Like it was super weird, and like Reiki and get rid of whatever the scene was that we needed to heal. So I've been having a lot of that lately. So I don't know. I always wonder, I'm like, do these people feel better in the morning? Do they know that they got Reiki last night? Like, I don't know. So interesting. Anyways.
Oh, I think so. That's like, what do they call them? Night workers? You know, it sounds kind of like a funny term, but yeah, people do healing at nighttime in their sleep. Yeah. And some people, like, you may have a client in the future that looks at you and says, "Oh, you look so familiar."
Right? Yeah.
Like, "Oh, I was in your dream the other day giving you Reiki."
Yeah. And you know, they say like you receive Reiki when you're giving Reiki. So I'm like, I've been feeling really good lately. So, you know, I'm definitely going to accept that.
That is super cool. And do you wake up feeling rested too?
I mean, yeah. I still have a newborn. So
yeah, that's true. So sleep is, Yeah,
and I'm still just like one ear open, just like, we finally started sleeping through the night. So I'm just like still not expecting it to be like that. But yeah, no, I do. Like, I feel good. I felt good today. I was up at 5, but still felt good today.
Oh, okay. That's good.
Yeah. So yes, we'll say it's working for the resting. Okay. Well, Astro update.
Yeah. Let's see what's going on in the stars.
Okay. So right now, this episode is coming out August 15th. We're not quite at August 15th yet. So we have had one full moon already in this August. And we have another one coming up on the 30th. And then we have the new moon on August 16th, where Kristi and I are going to do our candle spell for manifesting. So just a reminder, on the 16th, are we going to do a live for this, do you think? Or what do you want to do? Or should we just...
Yeah, that would be fun.
Okay. Are we committing to that right now?
Oh boy, yeah. Now that it's on air, it's like, okay, now I'm starting to sweat.
Okay. Well, we might do a live, or we are going to do it and we'll just post. So if you want to do it with us, we highly recommend it. It's going to be just super fun, and it's only going to take you 2 hours. You know, that kind of seems like a lot, but you have to sit with your candle and watch it burn, especially for safety reasons. This is good, but you're also committing to the manifesting by sitting there for only 2 hours. Like, it's 7 to 9. It's not a big deal. Yeah. So that's what we have. And hopefully you had a good Lionsgate portal on the August 8th. Hopefully you felt some really powerful energy, and maybe you manifested there. Maybe you did the candle spell on the Lionsgate. Whatever you did, I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you felt the power behind it.
Yes, it's such a powerful day. And I was just talking to my friend about it, and she's like, "Oh, so many portals open up in my house." So portals are ways that spirit can come in and into your house. It's like a door appears and they can come in and out. And I was like, well, I guess it's called like Lionsgate Portal. And she's like, "Oh my God, I never made that connection."
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah. So that's an interesting thing to know. I've never noticed any portals opening, but maybe I'll be more aware of that. But my house is like locked down with like protection and angels and ultra violet flame. Like nothing's coming in here, so it should be good.
Yeah, I would hope the same, actually. Like, no, thanks.
Yeah, no, I'm good.
Yeah. Okay, so today we are getting into the basics of Reiki. So today we want to honor Usui Reiki, which is pretty much traditional Reiki. And we thought it was really important to make sure we touch on this, because this is definitely the Reiki that I would say majority of people are doing. Hey?
Yes, with my experience with people I have met, this is the most popular one.
Yeah, absolutely. So there are well over 100 different types of Reiki, surprisingly. I actually didn't know there was that many.
No, I didn't either.
And like, it kind of makes sense because Reiki is so old, and then, you know, people pass it down and they teach it, and then things kind of change and get added on, and then one teacher does this and one intuitively does this, and then the next thing you know, right, it's just, it changes and develops into something else, which is kind of what ours did, kind of multiplied into New Earth Angel Reiki. Still the basic principles of the Usui Reiki, but just we've added to it. So
yeah, that's exactly right.
yeah, so the ones that I've personally have heard of is Usui Reiki. I've also heard of Holy Fire Reiki. Have you heard of any others?
Well, I've heard of other angel Reikis, and then I know of people that can combined a couple into their own thing and just like really felt what was right. But I believe they're all based on the Usui Reiki principles. And then, like you said, they add their own spice into it, because our Reiki master, Andrea, the one that created the whole New Earth Angel Reiki, she's actually a Usui Reiki master. And she was doing Reiki, and she's also taking her acupuncture course out in BC. And this is when she was seeing what clients were needing to be healed and what was going on. And she felt she wanted to bring her clients deeper. So this is when she started to work with the angels, and all of this opened up, and all these healing modalities started channeling through her, and how to like go deeper with clients, do the inner child work, do the past lives, the mediumship. So she's had an interesting journey, and we will interview her one day so she can share it in her own words. But
yes, that'll be good. So Reiki, like as we've discussed, is the universal life force energy that is all around us to heal our body, mind, and spirit. There is an unlimited amount of this energy. I've heard numerous amazing stories of people who have healed themselves through Reiki. Physical pain or illness, Reiki is just amazing. I truly believe that we are created so that we can heal ourselves. You think about even like when you cut your lip and the mouth just heals, or women who give birth and their body heals. Like, I honestly think that we can heal ourselves even further than just things like that. And Reiki is just pro advocate for that. So Reiki was discovered by a man named Miko Usui. Would that be how you pronounce his first name? It's Mikao. It's Japanese.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Macau. Yeah, we'll go with that.
And there is something to say that he was a Buddhist priest, but that could never actually be confirmed. So he could have been just a spiritual type of man. He channeled this type of energy healing in the early 1900s by prayer and meditation. So that's right. Everything comes back to meditation. So when he was sitting in silence, I believe it was for 4 weeks, he channeled all the Reiki symbols that they use in Usui Reiki.
Yeah. And I've heard a lot of different like histories of Usui and like his story. And, you know, it's just like with any history, it's like, what do you believe and what do you don't, you know? And I was listening to one podcast, and she explained the story really well. And I'll just do the Coles Notes version here of what she was talking about. And yeah, so it was discovered in Japan in 1922. So that's just like 100 years ago. That was right after World War I. And when you think of like other healing modalities, like acupuncture and yoga, like Reiki is like just a baby. It's pretty new. I don't know if I knew how new it was. And so he practiced divination, philosophy, and Zazen meditation, which is a type of meditation that originates from Buddha. So it's like sitting under the tree, and like, I don't know much else about it, so I won't guess on that. But so his main thing, Usui, was he wanted to reach enlightenment, which most Buddhists do, of course. So he decided to climb the top of a mountain called Kurama. I hope I'm saying that right. And it's in Japan. So. And he meditated and found fasted for 21 days. So that's a long time.
Oh yeah, so it's 3 weeks. My bad.
Yeah.
3 weeks. Yeah.
And so on the 21st day, he had not reached enlightenment, and he was feeling weak and feeble and defeated, and he was just ready to die on the mountaintop because he didn't reach his enlightenment. So he falls asleep that night on the 21st night because he's feeling so ill. And the next morning he wakes up feeling full of energy and vitality. And Usui was so excited and filled with this bright white light, he began to run down the mountain in just pure joy and bliss. And he ends up falling on the way down and hurts his foot. And then he intuitively embraces his foot with his hands and start moving this white light to his foot. And he immediately healed and relieved all his pain. And he thought, like, what just happened? I now have this power to heal. So he continues to go down the mountain and began spreading this technique. And I think he passed 5 years after this experience. So what he did in that 5 years is amazing. He opened up schools and he healed and he taught so many people this simple but profound method of healing. So I thought that was a really cool story about him. In the training that I took in level 1 Usui Reiki, they talked about he became famous after a violent earthquake in Japan in 1923. And he took his practice out onto the streets of Japan, and he began to spread Reiki to people and heal people during this tragedy. It said that he taught 2,000 people the practice of Reiki before he died when he was 62.
Yeah, and then Lady Takata brought it to the West. So she was in Hawaii and she started teaching it in Hawaii, and then it slowly trickled down all over to us, and it's worldwide now.
Oh yeah, and it's when you talk to people, I was talking to my cousin the other day, and I was telling him about our podcast, and I was telling him about Reiki, and he heard of it. And I was thinking, out of all people, I was thinking, there's no way he would know what it meant. And he's heard of it. So it's becoming more of a household term, which is super cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And it should. I was even thinking about your story when he fell down and he grabbed his foot. It is all of our instinct nature. When our stomach hurts, we automatically want to put our hands on our stomach, right? We want to hold our stomach. It's we are intuitively trying to put our hands so we can heal ourselves, right? And anything, if something hurts, we naturally just want to hold our arm if our arm hurts. It is in us, to relieve that energy. And just thinking of that intention too. I mean, they say you need to be attuned to really feel the Reiki energy moving through your body, right? But
right.
I still think with intention that would still be pretty powerful stuff too, personally. My own opinion though.
Well, yeah, no, that makes sense. And even rubbing someone's back, I was with my niece and she was having a meltdown, and I just put on my hand on her back and just rubbed her back. Mm-hmm. And she calmed down.
Yeah.
Just that hands-on, well, it doesn't have to be hands-on, but just that human instinct to put your hands on something to help it. That
right.
Totally makes sense.
And you would have been right over her heart in the back.
Yeah, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it worked for a bit, and then she was back to her meltdown. Well, I tried.
Oh,
you got it, Mom.
She is still young.
Oh, yeah, she's still only 2.
So I would definitely call Usui Reiki traditional Reiki. Definitely the one that when you hear of Reiki, this is what they're probably thinking of as Usui Reiki. So generally, the client or the receiver would lay down or sit in a chair as a Reiki practitioner would start at the crown, and they would work their way down the body. So putting their hands on all major chakra points to heal and release any stuck energy. In Reiki level 1, you use the energy and the frequency of unconditional love to move the stuck energy. And we always say, if you're ever in a tough spot with releasing, or maybe you're a practitioner and you're not sure how to combat something that you're dealing with, love always beats everything. Everything. So I loved when I read that about unconditional love to help move the stuck energy. That's totally what's happening here. There are 3 major symbols that you will learn when you take your Reiki level 2, one for healing the physical, one for healing the emotional, and another from mental blocks and sending Reiki long distances. In Usui Reiki, you will receive and learn a total of 4 symbols to help in a Reiki session, to enhance the energy flow, so to speak, during a healing session. You'll also learn the 4th one when you are a Reiki master. Ours were drawn into our hands personally and the back of our neck. I personally don't draw these symbols on my hands before every session anymore. I used to in the beginning, but they honestly feel like they're just always in there. And even if I just put my hands together, it's like I can feel the heat when I set the intention that I'm going to start. So I feel like I don't need to. What about you, Kristi?
Yeah, I feel the same way. Like there's been times where I actually forgot to draw the symbol and the session was still the same. I just feel like it's in my hand and we're good to go. Mm-hmm. And when we were reading the book, The Art of Psychic Reiki, the book that you recommended, and it was interesting how she said, like, you put your hands out and you say Reiki on.
Yes.
I was like, that's cool. I kind of like that.
Oh, I do that all the time now. Even when, like, when I'm holding my son, I'm just like, hot hands. And like, hot hands. And I'm just like, and yeah, right?
Yep.
It's just and then awesome.
Off. Yeah. Yes. I just like, why complicate it? Just Reiki on, Reiki off.
I know. So good. Yeah. So what's prompted this podcast actually is we both read the book, The Art of Psychic Reiki. We'll link it in the show notes. It is the best book. I borrowed it from the library and then I thought I need to own this because it's so good. My dad's reading it now too. And that's what really prompted this. And we really wanted to pay homage to this book and the basics of Usui Reiki.
Yes, because if somebody's new to Reiki and started listening to our podcast from episode 1, we wanted to go back to the basics with the Usui Reiki and help people understand like where New Earth Angel Reiki came from and what the
the heart of it is.
Yeah, like the meat and potatoes of it, like the simplicity of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So now that Kristi and I are master levels with New Earth Angel Reiki, we have 6 symbols in total that we know. I know, like for ours, we don't ever write symbols when we are Reikiing into the client. I know with Usui Reiki, they will draw the symbols onto the chakra to help really release, or if they need extra strength, let's say, in their solar plexus to help move a situation and maybe build some confidence, they will draw the symbol on, but we would never do.
No, we were never taught that, but I found that super interesting. Like I was looking at the symbols and I just feel like that would be really powerful, drawing that symbol onto a chakra and just with that intention. So I really love that practice.
Yeah. And I do feel like ours is very intuitive Reiki. So like our hands, even my whole body actually is moving when I'm doing a Reiki session. So I do feel like I'm not drawing symbols, but I'm definitely working with mudras and almost like Tai Chi to really move the energy that it's like that, I find, but different, obviously. Yeah.
You're doing it in like your own intuitive way. And that's what I love about it.
Yeah. There was also something super interesting in that book. She told a story about a girl who got the Reiki symbols tattooed on her body. Did you get there?
Yeah.
Oh, I was like, that's so interesting. I always thought like, maybe my first tattoo would be something like that, right? Because I'm like, I'll always be into Reiki. Like it's never something I would regret. But she said how these symbols like started working overtime. And it actually kind of was in a bad effect. So it really kind of worried me, actually. I don't think I would get that on my body anymore. I think she had to what did she do to help calm down the symbols?
Oh, I don't.
Do you remember?
No, I don't. But wasn't it on her back?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's intense. And a tattoo, like that's so permanent. It's not like she just wrote it on there. Like that's with you for life.
Yeah. Yeah. Pretty wild. So when you're at Reiki level 3, this is usually the master level where you can teach others and attune people as well. So if you do read this book, The Art of Psychic Reiki, you do still need to get attuned from a Reiki master. So keep that in mind. But it's a very good read, especially if you're wanting to learn Reiki. You will get an attunement at the end of every level that you take to activate the Reiki energy. So this is different from the symbols you receive. An attunement can only be done by a Reiki master. And this is usually a ceremony that takes place between the student and the master, as they are opening up your energy pathways so that the power of Reiki can flow through you and you can administer it to others. So I was reading up about the Hera line, which we'll get into. But like every time you receive an attunement, it actually opens and strengthens this line. So it's like your field is getting bigger and stronger every time you get an attunement.
Yes, which makes sense from our experiences after each Reiki attunement. Like it's like you unlock other gifts or other clairs or something else. Like you're just making your container bigger so you can even hold more space for your clients as well.
Yeah, I can definitely attest to feeling different. I know even before we've had some attunements when you're like, I need like a couple days off. Like,
yeah,
I'm still downloading and processing. And like, yeah, you can just feel the difference. It almost sounds, I gotta say, like just on a real level, it kind of sounds bogus. Like you get an attunement, like, can't anyone, how do you know it's working? No, honestly, it sounds really weird, but you can feel the difference. And I don't really know how else to explain it besides it sounding woo-woo, but something happens. Like the energy happens. The first time I felt the energy in my hands, I was just stunned. I'll never forget that moment. It's just, yeah, it's magical.
It truly is because you can't see it. So it's hard to grasp our like mind around it, but just knowing that feeling and just trusting it is just, it's something I'll never forget, that feeling. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so the Hera line is also referred to as the life purpose line. So this line runs through our bodies and connects us to the earth. The top of this line is connected to our soul that is located up in the ethers or the heavens or cosmos, whatever you resonate with, and runs down and connects into the center of the earth, or as I would like to think of it, like Mother Gaia's heart center. You know, every time I think of Mother Gaia's heart center or Mother Gaia, even in general, did you ever see Moana?
No, actually, I've never watched that movie.
Okay. No. Homework for you this weekend. Go watch Moana. Okay, so she's trying to return the heart of Te Fiti. So when she returns this emerald gem to this mountain, all of a sudden it turns, I'm ruining the end. It turns into this green goddess of like earth. And I was like, God, this is Mother Gaia. Like, this is totally it. And she just like goes and just transforms into a beautiful mountain. Anyways, I think about her all the time. Yeah, this green goddess in this movie. Go watch Moana. It's very good.
Is it okay? I totally will.
Yes. So anyway, sorry, I digress. So our chakras are connected into this line, this electric current line that runs through our bodies. And the goal is to have a nice, strong, thick line here. So the attunements help strengthen the lines. When you are exercising, just being healthy, getting in a good flow, your line is strong. Like it's a good connection. I kind of always think about like, you know, when you play video games and you can like see the person and they have this like line connected up. You know, I kind of think of that when I think of the hairline. It's just like we are connected up like in the Matrix to like this big cosmos of our higher selves that are just like helping us along while we play this video game of life, you know? That's what I think. And that's the only best way I could describe that.
No, that's a great way, like a great visual for people to have is this invisible line that connects us from the sky to below and runs through us. And that's why grounding is so important, because you want to have that line going through, but you also want it going through to the ground.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, so I actually have my level 1 Usui Reiki. This was back during when the world shut down, because I remember wearing a mask during this course. Everyone was wearing a mask, and I was worried it was going to be canceled because I was so excited. I was looking forward to it, but we ended up all sitting there with our masks on. But yeah, whatever. That's not the point of this story here. So, the Reiki master, her name is Vanessa, and her company is Belle. And I actually met her through a giveaway I was running for my handmade jewelry business. So this was a while ago. I was in a market downtown, and I was giving away 2 tickets, and she was the lucky winner. And she came to my table, and as soon as I met her, I knew, like, I wanted to get to know her better. I had no idea what she was about. I didn't know much about Reiki at this point. And I ended up talking to her for quite a while. And then I followed her on Instagram, and I kept seeing like she was offering Reiki trainings. And that's when I heard the call to Reiki. I was like, I don't really understand what this Reiki is, but I feel like I should do it. So I signed up and I went to the course. So it was a fun day. We learned all about the chakras and how to give ourselves Reiki and the hand placements for self-Reiki. So we don't learn about anything about doing Reiki on other people, because we have to learn about our own energy center and clear our heart line, our chakras. We got to make all that clear before I feel like we could be the best practitioner we could be. We got to move the junk out. And
can I just say, like, that's a really good point, because if you're trying to move the energy through you to get to the client, if you're all clogged and blocked, it's not going to be as good of a session as a session with a master or a practitioner who's done their own self work, and they're all clear, for the most part, and the energy can just run clearly through them and on to the client.
Yes,
so, yes,
that's so true. And remember, Andrea said you can only take your client as far as you've taken yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I strongly believe in that. Doesn't mean like you have to go through all this stuff and inner healing. Like, it does help, of course, when you've been through like dark nights of the souls and you're helping someone else move through it. You do have another understanding of and compassion for that person. What else happened in that course? So we were gifted gemstones. I thought this was really cool. And it was like a gemstone for every chakra and then a grounding stone. And I still have them, and I have them sitting up on my shelf. So that was like a big deal. That was like when I was open to the world of Reiki. So that, yeah, I like to look at them, and I keep them together, and I don't want to lose them. They're kind of like a set. And we were practicing our self-Reiki with the hand placement she taught us. And I could feel like the energy moving through my hands. I could see colors. It was a pretty wild feeling. And I wasn't sure like what to think about it. I was like, oh man, like this is pretty crazy. And so when it came to the attunement, I was actually super nervous, because the way she explained it is she's like, this can shake your life up. Like this could be like a tower card moment. Like everything that isn't in alignment could like burn to the ground, and then you have to rebuild. So I think it was like a bit extreme, but I guess she was just warning you, like something might shift in your life, either physically or spiritually. It just depends on where you are in your journey. And some people will have like physical releases, like through going to the bathroom or crying or stuff like that. Or you can have emotional ones, like you can feel all this anger coming up because it has to be released. So I was scared. I was like, what am I getting myself into here? I was like, I don't know if I feel like I really want to put myself through that. But of course, looking back, you have to go through that storm before you can get to the other side of it's just part of the journey. And so attunements are super powerful. Well, as we said, right? And she came around to each of us We all had our eyes closed, and she drew the symbols on her hands, and she did some other stuff, but my eyes were closed. And I remember she was like, when I do this, open your hands. And of course I wasn't listening. She like had to tap me a couple times. I was like, oh, okay, yeah. And, so she did my attunement, and I was sitting there, and all of a sudden, like my clairvoyance, like in my mind's eye, I'm seeing all these visions, like this movie playing, and I could see like my younger self running through this field, and my mother was there. And all of a sudden I had this huge release of tears, like streaming down my face, like going into my mask. It was just like, it was so messy. And I was like, what is going on here? I was like, I don't understand any of this, because this was like way before New Earth Angel Reiki. Like this was like the start of my spiritual journey. And I was like, okay, great. So I just sat there, let it happen. And she was done the attunements for everyone. I think there's probably like 8 of us in that class. And I opened my eyes, and I was like the only one crying. I was like, well, something shifted within me, and I didn't really know how to explain it. I talked to her after, and she did help me understand what was going on. And after that attunement, I didn't have like any physical releases or like any like prominent visits from spirit. I did just feel like really tired and just drained after. So it's like it drained my batteries, and then I had to work them back up. And I have worked with Vanessa in the past. She's really good at what she does. She does it for her full-time job. I think she's kind of moved into coaching and that type of thing too. But yeah, she's super interesting in and she knows Reiki like in and out. Like she could explain it with like her eyes closed. And she shared a lot of stories of her own about like healing her dog's eye. And just like, I love hearing those personal stories of how Reiki helped them and helped somebody else. And just her knowledge on like gemstones and the history of Reiki. And yeah, it was really good. So I ended up telling my husband and my brother about it, and they felt that call to Reiki, which is kind of odd, like thinking about it. I don't know why. Like, yeah. So they actually went for their level 1s through Vanessa. And my brother has actually had some pretty cool experiences with self Reiki. There was one time where he like had a lot of panic and anxiety, and he didn't know what to do with himself. Like it was at one of those points where you're just like, holy shit, like the world is like coming on top of me. Like, what do I do? And he said he just grabbed his phone, turned on like some meditation music, and all of a sudden his hands were going on his body, and he just felt like this instant sense of calm. Mm-hmm. So he was giving himself that Reiki, even though maybe he didn't know it was Reiki at that time, like after his attunement, because it's quite a while after. But when he told me that, I was like, that's freaking awesome, because he is the type of person that's on the fence with this stuff. Like I don't share a lot with him about a lot of my experiences. If I do, I kind of tell him like, well, this happened in a dream. It wasn't like, yeah, I just saw that out my window. It's more well received sometimes through when you say it was a dream. And he also had an experience when his fiance was pregnant. And I think it was the night before she was going to the hospital, and he just had his hands on her belly. And he said all of a sudden the light went brighter, like in the room. And he said it was the weirdest thing. And he like felt the angels there. And so that was really cool for him to share that story with me. Like that was a big deal because of like our relationship and the way he believes in this stuff but doesn't. So that was really cool that Reiki kind of brought us together in that moment. And yeah, this Reiki, it just unlocks like your innate ability to channel like unconditional love through yourself to someone else. And I think if anyone out there is like feeling that call to Reiki, if you see Reiki on Instagram all the time or someone's talking about it and you just feel like it's something that you want to do, I feel like everyone should do that level 1, because it's just like learning your chakras, like the roadmap of your feelings and where things are stored. I don't know. I just feel like it's something that everybody could use in everyday life.
Yeah, absolutely. Or at least go and read this book, The Art of Psychic Reiki.
Yes, that would be a great place to start because your investment is what, $20?
Yeah. That would be the best place. Yeah, for sure. Because, you wouldn't have to pay to do a level 1 to figure out it's not for you. I thought of actually a really good story just to go along with yours. So earlier this week, my son is like snotty, and I'm like, oh, he's getting a cold, and I'm like, oh, kids being sick is the absolute worst, right? So of course I put my son down for a nap during the day, and I started doing like my hot hands on him while I'm putting him down, just to like give him extra Reiki. And then I thought, you know what, I'm going to do distant Reiki on him while he's napping in my room, or napping in his room. So I go down to my Reiki room, I start doing Reiki on him while he's napping. And sure enough, next day he had nothing, no symptoms at all. And like with kids, I'm sure everyone can attest to this. They're always sick. They get sick forever. No, next day he had nothing, no symptoms, no anything. So I thought that was pretty awesome. That is definitely worth mentioning. And like,
yes,
me and Todd both didn't get sick either, which is great.
Oh, that's amazing. And with babies, they don't need like as much Reiki. It's just like a little quick.
Yeah, it was a lot faster, right? Because how much can their little bodies be holding on to? Not a lot, not as much as adults. So it was actually quite quick.
And they don't have like anything blocking them releasing anything. Like they don't have that stubbornness or overthinking. Like I feel like it would just come up and it would be released.
Yeah. So we thought we'd end this episode with the ethical principles of Reiki by Usui Sensei, which are: just for today, do not worry. Just for today, do not anger. Honor your parents, teacher, and elders. Earn your living honestly. Show gratitude to everything.
Oh, I really love that.
Really good principles to definitely live by. And it also kind of reminded me to like really pay respect to Andrea, our teacher.
Yes, that's so true. And when I do Kundalini yoga, we open the session before we do Reiki with giving thanks to all the teachers that came before us and like calling them in to be with us. And I feel like that's such a beautiful practice to do, is just to honor who came before you. And even like if you think about when we're gone one day, that people will honor us and our journeys and what we left behind for our Reiki journeys.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Okay, and we're also going to leave you with our card pull for the end of the episode. Okay, so this one's going to be live. So hold on. So when I shuffled the deck, at the bottom of the deck was the Queen of Pentacles. So that usually has to do with money coming in, really feeling into your wealth. I'm just going to see what else comes up here. Oh.
So no shit sandwich.
So when you're pulling tarot, a lot of my tarot is intuitive. So when cards flip up in the reverse, that is very significant, but I always know if I want to have them in the reverse or if I want to have them in the forefront. I'm just getting a couple more cards here. Whoa. It was funny, actually. I didn't want to use this deck. This is a very traditional tarot deck. This is the Rider Waite's tarot deck. I believe that's correct. I wanted to use my other one, but this one actually did come up that I should use it. So I'm glad I did. I just figured it'd give me a better reading. Okay, so I'm done shuffling. So the cards I got is the Sun, the Lovers, the Seven of Swords, and the Four of Wands. And then at the bottom of the deck is the King of Pentacles. So we had the Queen and the King. So this is all about a relationship. So the Sun is the happiest card in the deck. And then we have the Lovers, which is pretty self-explanatory, is two people in love. And then the Seven of Swords is kind of like a shisty card. It's about a guy kind of like stealing and being deceitful. And then the Four of Wands is about marriage and taking your relationship to the next level. So the message that I'm getting here, we had the Queen and then we have the King of Pentacles. So this is definitely like a very happy, healthy match. And this match, like somebody who's listening to this could be getting married. I definitely feel like there's a lot of love in this relationship, a lot of health and happiness. When it comes down to these people aren't married yet, but they're about to walk down the aisle, but they're having some problems with just a few details. And I feel like some people in the wedding aren't quite cooperating, maybe being a little bit difficult, especially if you're in the wedding party. And you just need to kind of keep an eye on them is actually what I'm getting. I was going to say let it go, but no, I'm actually getting, you need to kind of keep an eye on them and almost put them in line. Ooh, sorry, that sounds kind of a little harsh, but you have to remember that sometimes things can get carried away if you let them. And then one small thread can all of a sudden unravel the whole garment. So I think you need to kind of nip this in the bud if you feel like someone's trying to kind of take over things and you're not comfortable with it. You need to find your voice. And I definitely feel like there is not going to be any money issues in this relationship. The Pentacles is all about finance and money. And we got the King and the Queen here. So this is a very financially tight relationship that is going to flourish. So money doesn't seem to be an issue. So definitely make sure you're getting everything you want that day. And really keep an eye on the shisty person who might be doing a couple things behind your back. Definitely put a stop to that. And good luck on the wedding day.
That's
it.
really interesting.
That
Wow.
this was like dead on relationship. Wild. Yeah. Pretty interesting.
That is. So yeah, if that resonates with someone that's getting married, let us know. 'Cause
Let us
that would be
know. I'll post these cards in our Instagram.
yeah, and definitely put people in line on your wedding day. You know, don't let people walk over you.
It's your day.
It's a stressful day and it's the day for you.
Okay, we done? We out?
Yeah, that is it.
Okay, till next time. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, ciao for now. Thanks for listening to our episode. We hope you learned something new and was inspired. And you can find us on Instagram at Living the Reiki Life.
And you can find our personal handles at Reiki with Manda.
And mine is The Birch Soul.
It would also really help us out if you gave us a 5-star rating and review.
It really helps us out in the podcast world.
And we will see you next time.
Ciao for now.
1, 2.